take a look at our exam, das Examen. Most of it is fairly standard, and you should be able to prepare for it with no difficulty using the slides that I have here. You'll have, of course, a listening comprehension section. Review for this on page 253. It's your standard conversation where you're deciding which answers are logical. Then you're going to hear three statements. They're similar to these right here. They're not exactly the same as these, but they're similar to these right here. Where are you going? Wohin fahren Sie? Ich kann mein Heft nicht finden. How would you answer something like that? Es liegt auf dem Tisch. Something like that. And kommen Sie mit uns in ein Restaurant? How might you answer a question like that? Ja, ja oder nein. Wir kommen nicht mit. Something like that. Then you'll have a written test. You'll notice that there isn't a speaking test. I'm going to consider your speaking as having been assessed by our presentations. You'll have to be able to describe what goes in different rooms in your house. So was gehört in dem Wohnzimmer? Was ist alles in dem Schlafzimmer, in der Küche? Look at page 264 through 265. That should give you some idea of what you should be prepared to use as far as vocabulary goes. You'll also have to choose some verbs to match with an image. These are images on page 270. You might remember these are verbs like hängen and stellen and stehen. Remember, these two are not the same, but you do this, stehen, in order to make something stehen. You do the stellen in order to make something stehen. And you remember that liegen und legen are a pair. You leg something down and it liegt. That's what I'm looking for here. You'll also have some verb and preposition combinations. These would be like denken, was, an. And is that accusative or dative? Accusative. So you'll have some sentences, and you will have a Q in parentheses, and you will choose a noun. What I want you to do is be able to say, for example, ich denke an Sie, or ich denke an meine Mutter. Not, for example, ich denke an meine Mutter. You'll also, I might even give you some examples. Let's get rid of some of this ink. Mein Nachbar spricht immer von, and so you'll choose. Mein Nachbar spricht immer von dem Wetter. What you're going to be doing is choosing you're going to choose the ending, the case, based on the preposition. Then you'll have some indirect questions. This is what we talked about on Wednesday of this week, where you want to say, for example, welche Arbeit machst du zu Hause? But you don't want to start with a direct question like that. You want to say something like, weißt du, welche Arbeit du zu Hause machst? Or sag mir bitte, please tell me, welche Arbeit du zu Hause machst. The important thing is that machen goes to the very end of the clause. It is what we call subordinate or relative clause word order. You'll also have to be able to use full compounds, and you'll have to know whether to use full compounds or whether to use a person's pronoun plus a preposition. So, for example, we have here, gestern hat Marie von ihrem Studium erzählt, and you're going to be eliciting that information that you heard, again, with wovon hat Marie erzählt. Remember, you So if you had said, for example, gestern hat Marie von ihrer Schwester erzählt, she told about her sister, well then the next time you'd have to say von wem, because you can't refer to a person with the full compound. The full compound only refers to inanimate objects or non-persons. You're going to be rephrasing bold statements. I don't mean like brash, I mean bold printed statements like this with a full compound or with a preposition plus a pronoun. You'll see what I mean when you study on page 278 and take page 287. You'll also do the same with da compounds. Remember, Frank hat mit seinem Chef gesprochen. This is a person, so I can't say damit, I have to say mit ihm. But if I said Frank hat mit seinem Hund, much to our chagrin, Hunde are not persons. They're lovely animate creatures, but they're not persons. And so we would say damit. Okay. If the chef is a person, you can't use a da compound. Here's another example. Hat Frank in der Küche gesprochen? So I'm going to ask, I'm going to say, yeah, he talked in the kitchen. He talked therein. Hat darin gesprochen. Kitchen's not a person, you can use a da compound. We don't have a quiz right now. Let me just do that. You'll also have these are some exercises to show you, to give you some practice. Haben Sie über die Arbeitszeiten gesprochen? Ja, hat darüber. Why is it darüber? Because this is not a person. Ist Justin Chef mit Justins Arbeit zufrieden? It looks like this is a person, but that's a red herring. Is he happy with the work? Mit der Arbeit. So we'd say, ja, ist damit zufrieden. Even though Justin is in the sentence, it's not what the mit is referring to. Mit is referring to the Arbeit. Hat Justin seiner Freundin von dem Gespräch erzählt? Person or not a person? It's not a person. So hat ihr, he told his Freundin, hat ihr davon erzählt. You'll also have some experiences of exchange student to talk about. It will be a reading in which you will make decisions about what you've read. To prepare for this, look on page 260 to 261. That's our reading we did on Wednesday, the Austauschstudent in Deutschland. You'll also have some household chores to talk about. We've done this quite a lot in class, so I'm not going to review too much of this, but you should look at pages 254 and 35 for this section. You should be able to talk about ich putze die Küche, ich mache die Küche sauber. Things like ich decke den Tisch oder ich räume die Spülmaschine aus. Something to that effect. You'll also have an opportunity to tell us information that you know from Kulturkontraste. Kulturkontraste section. I can't spell today. So, for example, you'll be able to talk about Munich, its status as a world city, what you can do there as a visitor. You'll also have Fußgängerzone to talk about. This is on page 281. What's the difference between a German Innenstadt and an American Innenstadt? Where would you find a Fußgängerzone, and what could you do in a Fußgängerzone? Then you'll also have a section relating to page 267. We didn't read this in class, but it was in your reading for this chapter, talking about how eating habits and guest behavior is different in Germany and in German-speaking countries. Be able to talk coherently about that, and if you can do all of these things, well, then you are in good shape to complete this test successfully. I also expect you to be able to talk about housing. For this, refer to your presentation information that you learn for your presentation will be fair game. So you should be able to refer to material that you studied, in addition to the reading on page 262. All right, that is the end of the slideshow.